I hope you guys like watching paint dry, because we're going to be doing a lot of that in this video. So, about 2 weeks ago, a bloke found all this stuff and he thought somewhere there is a moron on this planet that sees value in this stuff. So I bought it all. Let me know in the comments what you think it's worth, because I think I got an absolute bargain. I'll let you know how much I spent at the end of the video. Right, yes, I know, I've already got wheels, I've already got a rear axle, I've already got everything, but the important part is, me and my dad had discussions early on when we bought this thing that, should we put some wire wheels on it? I think they look pretty cool. People will probably be divided by that, but I think they look cool. The cost of replacing everything it was just way too high. It would cost more than we spent on the car to just put wire wheels on. So when I saw this come up, and even if the wire wheels are no good, and they may be too far gone, I don't know, but it's going to give me some practice to refurbishing all the components that have come with it. So the rear axle, all of the suspension parts, the front cross member, the steering rack. It gives me really good practice refurbishing it all. And if I can get the wire wheels to a state where they are good enough to stick on the car just for running about initially, then great. Like I said, let me know how much you think all that stuff's worth. I know not many people will probably see value in it, but if at the very least it gives me a couple of good parts and it gives me really good practice for refurbishing anything that we keep on this car, I think it's been well worth the money, because I genuinely think I got a really good deal. But we'll see. I don't know what's good and what's not. And anyway, like I said at the end of the last video, we changed direction on this thing a little bit. I'm focusing on the front of the car, getting the engine back in, just so we can get it running and moving, so we can get it in and out the garage. So what do I need to do? I need to do the other wing. Do you remember me saying this? And to be fair, the other side didn't look quite as bad. I don't know what the hell that guy was on about. Look at this. How on earth is this not as bad? This looks horrific. The box section doesn't exist anymore. There's more holes than I can count. The bulkhead section is really bad. I don't know how I'm going to get the pedal box off. And all of this creeps into the driver's footwell, the inner sill, I believe, which I really didn't want to have to make any repairs to, but I'm going to have to. So yeah, I need to get all of that sorted, and then I need to get the engine bay prepped enough to get a good spray paint job in there. And as part of that, I want to get the front cross member treated and painted so it looks nice, and the steering rack. That brings me on to these. As most of you will probably know, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to use these two things as practice. I think they're part of the spring pan assembly, I think. Yeah, that's what they are. I bought a lot of stuff from Frost. So I've got some metal prep, which is basically just phosphoric acid with some other bits in, I believe. Some POR 15 rust preventative, and then some chassis black spray paint just to cover it, because the POR 15 isn't UV protected. Not that it's ever going to be in the sun, but I just read that it was best to put a couple of coats on POR 15 and then spray over it. So yeah, so I'm going to get all the rust stuff of these, use the metal prep, phosphoric acid, leave that to sit for 20 minutes, wash it all off, let it dry, put a coat of POR 15 on, let that cure, put another coat of POR 15 on, let that cure, and then spray it. And if that comes out really well, then I will attempt to do the same on all of the rest of the components, whilst checking that they're all good at the same time, obviously. So let's make a start. Uh-oh. Game over. It gets worse. Are they good enough? I don't really know, but they're dry now. So I've got as much rust off as I could, and now I've just cleaned them with a degreaser and let them dry. So I'm going to use this Pour 15 metal prep. So I'm going to put that into a little spray bottle, or some of it into a spray bottle, and apparently I need to spray it all over the parts, keep it wet for a minimum of 20 minutes, or it says for 20 minutes, I might leave it on for a little longer. Rinse it with water, let it dry again, and then I'll cover it with that rust preventative coating that I've got. And if all this goes well, then I'll probably just rinse and repeat this whole method for everything else that I've got. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've let that dry now. So I covered that in the metal prep, left it on for about 25 minutes. It said to keep it wet, so I resprayed it a couple of times. It's left this coating on it now, it's dry, which is apparently a zinc phosphate coating. To me, in layman's terms, it's a bit white or grey, and apparently it's good for painting on now. Now it's dry, I'm going to put a coat of Pour 15, and apparently that's got quite a long curing time, so once it's fully cured, I'll sand it down a bit, apply another coat, let that cure, and then spray over that. Hopefully it comes out well, and I can get all the rest of it done. Let's see how it goes. Right, that's the second coat done now. When I let the first coat dry, I got a bit of paper stuck to it, which I had to sand off. So this time I've just used some hooks that I normally use when I'm working on brakes to hang them up and let them dry. The first coat seemed absolutely fine, so I don't see any reason why this one won't. So I'm not gonna wait for this one to cure. I'm sure it'll look absolutely fine once it's sprayed. So I'm just gonna crack on with the rest of it now. It's not lost on me that this looks like something out of the Blair Witch Project or some sort of satanic wind chime, but it's the best I could think of. I haven't got the proper mask yet. Yes, don't attack me. I have got one on order for when I do the engine bay. So this is the best I could do. Do I need a mask? I'll let that dry and see if it makes any difference whatsoever. I think they all came out pretty well, to be honest, considering I have no idea what I'm doing. The cross member and the anti-roll bar look a bit different because they've only had one coat of Pour 15, and so they need another coat and a spray. But I won't put you through watching any more paint dry. Well, I've missed a bit as well. I've really not done a good job on this one. Oh well. So this isn't actually the unit you saw me take off the car just a minute ago. The one I've taken off the car is in a lot worse condition than this. It was really hard trying to get the inside of this painted as well. And yes, I should have probably got it sandblasted and powder coated, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to spend the money, and I wanted to see what I could do myself. So the plan with this is, I think I've got pretty good coverage inside, but when we treat the inside of the rails, we're going to spray something, I don't know what yet, on the inside of the chassis rails, and whatever we use for that, I'll just put inside this just to make sure I've got everything covered. So this has caused me a bit of a predicament. So at the start of the video, you'll have seen the reason we bought this was A, to sort of test out refurbishing all the parts, and B, to hopefully put wire wheels on the car. So this is from an earlier model MGB. This cross member and the steering rack is slightly different to the one I've taken off this car. So that is the unit that we took off the car. As you can see, it's in a very sorry state. And that's the steering rack we took off the car. But as you can see, that is longer than that. So if anyone knows how I make all of this work on my car, then please let me know. Can't I just put this on that? Other than the length of this, everything else seems to line up okay. And I do need to figure out what to do with this. I want to get all the front suspension rebuilt soon as well. So if anyone has got any tips or guidance you can give me on this, then that'd be really appreciated, because I don't know what I'm going to do just yet for this. Anyway, once I've figured all that out, I can get the suspension rebuilt at a different time. But again, some good progress. I think I'm going to start stripping the rest of the engine bay now. Okay, so just quickly before we start stripping the engine bay, I'm literally looking at the video now and realised at the start of the video I said I'd tell you guys how much I spent on all these parts, and I forgot to record myself saying that. So I know you must all be falling off the edges of your seats in suspense, so I'll put you out of your misery. We got 5 wire wheels, rear axle, hubs, all the suspension bits, so the spring pans, a couple of springs, the wishbone arms, those wishbone pivot arms, the front cross member, which I'm particularly happy with looking at the state of the one that came off of this car, because I'd have needed a replacement anyway, or it would have needed some repair work, which I don't think I would have been able to do. The steering rack, and a couple of calipers, but I'm not sure if the calipers are any good, but I spent £80, which is about $100 US. So I think that was a steal, to be honest, but let me know what you guys think. Anyway, let's start stripping that engine bay. Fans come out. All the wiring on this front end I've started removing. Anything with a removable bullet connector has got a number. Anything that's not removable and it has a socket or a plug that goes directly into an auxiliary gets a description. So I should have started doing this originally, but you know, you get carried away. So I'm doing that. This bolt is rusted solid, so I need to get that off. Same for one over here. I don't know if you can see that, it's right in the corner. Once they're out, this whole loom can just go out of the way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove it fully, because I'm hoping not to take the dash out, but I can just bag it up and get it out of the way for when I'm welding, and I can protect the bit inside that inner wing for when I'm welding and when I'm painting. So you might have seen on the time lapse, I was just trying to impact some of these rusted bolts out because they are seized solid, and the vibrations of me doing that has just been enough to break this rust apart. I don't know if you can see this. There you are. So the bottom of the box section here is completely rusted out. But there's clearly been, whatever was causing this rust has just eroded all the way through this inner panel. So now it is just not attached to this part anymore. Oh, there she goes. What on earth am I even going to do with this? Look, it's awful. Oh! Oh no. If I didn't laugh, I'll cry. I'm not sure I'm supposed to be able to see through this. I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do about that. I know I'm not a professional, but I'm almost certain that that's not a good thing to find on a car. And on that note, I'm off for a beer whilst I contemplate my life choices. Thanks everyone for watching again.